Megan.
Hi.
Hi. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is going to be fun.
It is going to be so much fun. Well, I would love if we could just start off with if you could tell us a little bit about your background and what you do.
Fantastic.
Let's start there and then we'll unpack some more as we go.
Yeah. Well, I am a consultant and distributor with Pure Romance. We specialize in women's sexual health and wellness items. So Pure Romance has been around since 1993, so for over 30 years. And the focus is really just to help women better understand their bodies and their sexuality as we go through every major life stage. Because I'm sure, as you can imagine, back in 1993, there just wasn't as much information available as there is now.
Definitely not.
So I started my business.
I wasn't born yet.
Oh, that's adorable.
I was born the next year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I'm 30.
That totally, me too.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I started with Pure Romance back in 2011. I had relocated to the upstate of South Carolina back in 2008, right as the recession was hitting.
Yes.
So the job that I moved here for no longer existed shortly after I moved here.
Okay.
And
What did you do before Pure Romance?
So I was a theater kid.
Let's go.
Right. My background is in arts and education and arts management.
Okay.
So
That's awesome.
I loved that, but I quickly realized that might not be the most stable source of income. So I got a little creative. I temped around town. I worked in nonprofit for many, many years. And then when the recession just really wasn't doing as well as it could be with like the rebound, I ended up going to a Pure Romance party just to blow off some steam and have fun with my friends.
Sure.
And I was taking notes the whole entire time. And I was like, I can't believe my friends didn't know this information, because my mom walked me through all my development, and any questions I had about my body, she answered them. And I'm like taking notes and watching my friends. And I'm like, you guys didn't know this? How did you not know this?
Yeah.
And I was the last one to leave. I wasn't in a position to buy anything because I had just lost my last job because I was a grant writer and the grant money dried up.
Oh,
right?
goodness. Yes.
So
Yes.
I took some information home, and I make a joke, but you're only 30. You might not remember That's So Raven. Do you remember That's So Raven?
I loved That's So Raven.
Okay, good.
I grew up on That's So Raven.
Fantastic. So I had like a wah, wah, wah kind of flashback
Yes,
on my
yes.
drive home. And I was the one in college that was helping all my friends. Well, first I was buying all their condoms, and I was helping like a few of them buy pregnancy tests when the condoms didn't work or their partners refused to wear them.
Yes.
And then I was helping friends kind of pick out their adult novelty items from the one really sketch store in town.
Oh, yes.
And I was like, oh, I've already been doing this. I didn't know this was a job. This could be a career path.
Right. You were like
So-
the one providing guidance for everybody.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
Right. And I would ask my mom the questions that my friends would ask me, because I know my mom would give me the straight answer.
Right.
Right. And my friends just weren't comfortable asking their parents. And there weren't a lot of places that you could go to get factual information. And so I realized that was much needed in my circle of friends, but also then within the community.
Totally.
And Pure Romance seemed like a really non-threatening way to be that resource for sexual health information
Yeah.
on a more like official career path.
Like, oh, I
Yeah.
get to talk about sex all the time.
All the time.
This is
All the
amazing.
time.
And it's great.
Yeah.
You and I both have connected over that. I think
Yes.
that's obviously one of both of our passions. But talk to me a little bit about the primary mission, or what you see as kind of the primary mission of Pure Romance, and as well as, you aligning with them.
Yeah.
And how, that works just for you and what you're doing in your career day to day.
Yeah. So Pure Romance's mission is to empower, educate, and entertain.
Yeah.
So we empower women to be able to make smart decisions and healthy decisions for their bodies, and to know that they don't have to ask permission from anybody else to make the decision that's going to be right for themselves. We educate women, again, on sexual health, just the amount of women that don't realize how their anatomy lines up, how many holes are between their legs, that their body was designed for pleasure. So we
Yes.
educate on that. And then we entertain. We do it in a fun way. So I feel like the information a lot of us have received about sex growing up was very much a lecture, very much shame-based. And so we try to make it fun because sex should be fun. So we'd like
Yes.
our parties and our presentations to be fun.
Right.
So that's
Education should be fun, particularly if it's about sex.
exactly right. And,
Well,
and so,
I would love for you to walk me through. Like, I've been to a pure romance party a couple
yes.
times. I've been to a couple different ones. So walk us through kind of what that education looks like, kind of in a party.
So so I'm not holding up diagrams. It's not like
Yes.
flip charts. I try to sprinkle in facts and statistics. And I love that Pure Romance and the training they provide and some of the research studies that we fund
Yeah.
can give us a lot of that information to kind of sprinkle in. And we find a lot of it just kind of normalizes the experience that many women are going through. So
Yeah.
like the simple, sorry, it's still early. The simple statistic that 80% of women need clitoral stimulation to achieve an orgasm.
Yes.
And people are like, oh my God, I thought I was the only one. I'm like, no, babe, there's
You're not broken.
80%. So you're within the majority.
Mm-hmm.
So we sprinkle that in. So I do in-home party demonstrations because we find in-home parties kind of take the edge off. It's
Yeah.
not as sterile as going to the doctor's office, and it's not as like sketch as going to maybe like a truck stop and trying to find what you're looking for.
Yes.
But we follow, or at least my presentation follows, the female sexual response cycle.
Awesome.
And a lot of people don't realize, one, that exists, or two, it's basically the same plot development and outline as a book. And so I know right now there's a lot of people who are reading a lot of very fun books.
Yes.
So when I can tie that in and be like, you remember in this book, especially when I do a book club theme party, right?
Yeah.
How this was the action that was happening. And like, our body basically goes through that same cycle of
Yes.
desire, response, plateau, right? Arousal, climax, resolution. And so the products that I show during each of those sections align with what is typically happening in our bodies during a sexual experience.
I love that.
So
That's going to be one of my questions.
Yes.
It was
Okay.
like, what kind of products and things can you guys provide for individuals who are wanting to just, explore their
Yeah.
bodies a little bit more, or even people who may be experiencing like pain or discomfort or like, things that from a pelvic health perspective,
Yes,
can
100%.
be beneficial
Yeah.
to help with
Yeah.
those things.
So we literally run the gamut. I always say that Pure Romance is kind of like the gateway drug. We have a lot of like liquid consumable items. So
Yeah.
we just talk about how, most of us women, if it's a date night, we've got a routine that we go through to like go through the routine to get ourselves ready for a date night.
Yeah.
And that honestly starts the foreplay process.
Totally.
Foreplay doesn't have to be with your partner. It can be with yourself. So if it's going through the routine of like shaving your legs or shaving your armpits or taking care of unwanted hair in your bikini line, if that's what you so choose, putting on lotions and oils, a perfume, right? Doing, even if it's like matching bra and panties, doing the things that you want to do that kind of like get that foreplay started in your brain.
Make you feel confident about yourself too.
Exactly. And then, it goes from that to products that are more aligned with what we'd consider foreplay. So like massage. We've got massage gloves that are a delight. We've got great massage oils.
Yeah.
We've got a really fun card game that has 75 different fun, sexy suggestions on how to keep things spicy. And so I find when a lot of clients are like, well, how do I like initiate something new? Or I've always wanted to do this thing, but I don't know how to bring it up. Like, get this card game and like just put that card on top. Just put that one on
There we
top.
go.
Just stack the deck in your favor, right?
Yes.
Or kind of like sprinkle them into your life. So maybe like stick one in your partner's pocket before they leave for work. And you already know what card you put in there. So now both of you are thinking about that action all day.
Yes.
So we forget that our brain is our biggest sex organ, especially as women. So we need to make sure this is turned on
100%
before the rest of our body ever responds.
Yeah.
And so then after we talk about foreplay, then we can go into, more like what people would call toys or adult novelty items. I call them bedroom necessities.
Not accessories.
Necessities.
Necessities.
Right?
I love it.
Those can help deepen intimacy with your partner. I think a lot of times folks are worried about what their partner might think of them using a bedroom necessity, but it's a teammate. It's helping everybody get to the goal. And there's no shame in it. It's not a replacement. It's an enhancement item.
Yes. Yeah.
So then I give my clients some talking points and I encourage them, like, this is how you can introduce this to your partner, but also let them explore with it. Let
Right.
them see how your body responds to it.
Mhm.
Because, I mean, as much as we love our partners, not everybody can do everything. And especially as our bodies
Right.
age, our wants, needs, and desires change. So
Absolutely.
what we enjoyed in our early 20s might not be what's great at 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70. So we
Right.
have to be adaptable.
Well, and I think like you introducing that concept of like how to talk to your partner about some of these things,
Hmm.
because neither one of you has ever brought this up, or like,
Yeah,
giving people ideas on how to do that, but also like destigmatizing again, like
100%.
what these things are doing for you,
Yes.
because I talk to people all the time about the muscles of the pelvic floor,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And you think about a massage gun, like
Hmm.
for your shoulder,
Yeah.
or for your
Yeah.
thigh, or for all these things. We might even recommend a vibrator
Yep.
for the purpose of, again, like relaxation of the
Yes.
pelvic floor, bringing blood flow into the
Yes.
area.
Yep.
Again, that helps with arousal. That is
Yeah.
arousal.
That
Like,
is 100% arousal.
so it's like, destigmatizing, like this isn't something that's taking the place of your partner. This is
Yeah.
something, like you said, it's enhancing the
Yep.
experience for both of you.
Exactly.
So, and even from a scientific perspective, like that's literally what it's doing.
Yeah.
It's helping you.
Right.
It's not hurting you at all.
And so in our parties, we also talk the importance of pelvic floor therapy and pelvic health and how your
Yeah.
pelvic floor is a bowl, but it holds up everything soft inside of you.
Mhm.
And so you want everything to stay in place and you want a strong pelvic floor. And I
Yes.
think there's a common misconception that, oh, I'll deal with that after I have children. I'm like, or you could deal with it now and start understanding how it works, which could make
Mhm.
your journey to motherhood more enjoyable and you'd be better
Yes.
prepared. And then your recovery,
Mhm.
because we always make jokes like, oh, if you pee every time you laugh or sneeze or cough or look at a trampoline the wrong way, like it doesn't have to be that way.
No,
You
it does
can be
not.
prepared now and make different decisions now so that you've got optimum health throughout the course of your life.
Right.
And things like weakness in those muscles doesn't have to set you back.
No, it is not. Thank you so much, Snaps, for saying that, because that's something I hear often, particularly with moms of multiples, or
Yes.
just you're like,
Yeah.
I'll take care of this once I'm done having kids.
Yeah.
And I can understand like why you might want to do that just with time, or
Hmm.
life, and there's like you might have other commitments and all these things. But again, like the potential for injury,
Yeah.
issue, like all
Yeah.
the things that we're treating in pelvic floor therapy,
Yes.
like that gap grows
Yeah.
with time,
It really
and
does.
not addressing some of those things earlier.
Yep.
Even if you feel like you're doing pretty good, it's like you said, understanding that process of
Hmm.
how your body changes over the
Yeah.
course of your life,
Yeah.
right? As a woman, and as a human, it's like
Yeah.
if we don't understand some of these
Well,
things, it's hard.
and I think there's so much um pressure on women that like peak womanhood is having a baby, which is amazing.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
we don't talk about after.
right.
We don't talk about how your body changes after a baby and how your desires level change and how your hormones have changed and how now you've got this beautiful little miracle you have to somehow keep alive in this crazy world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
And we desexualize motherhood.
Yep.
And our partners are like, all right, we've got 6 weeks. We got to wait 6 weeks after we have a baby and then we can get back to having sex. And you're, as a new mom, like, I'm still wearing a diaper,
Right.
right?
You're
That
like,
last, everything is raw and shaved. I don't feel sexy. My brain is definitely not getting the foreplay that it wants, needs, and
right.
desires. Like all my attention is elsewhere. It's so hard to separate sexuality from motherhood and let them live in their own spaces.
Mm, right.
And I work with a lot of women trying to like, well, I want to feel sexy again, but now I've got stretch marks or my skin is loose or
Sure.
is my vagina loose? And I'm like, that's not the focus, honey. The focus is, do you want to have sex?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Let's start there. If not, then Pure Romance also has a great selection of products to keep your partner busy and occupied while you're recovering.
Mm-hmm.
Ta-da.
Ta-da. And again, like the whole 6 week mark after baby, like I saw a podcast the other day. I was like, where did this even come from? It was like an OBGYN talking.
Yeah.
And it's like, some people truly like won't be ready until 12
Yep.
plus weeks.
And some people might be ready after 4 days.
Exactly. So
Right?
it's very like, yeah, it's not just a one size fits all, when it comes to recovery
Yeah.
after any form of birth.
So I think the biggest reason that benchmark exists is to alleviate risk of new infection. And your doctor is
Right.
just like,
Exactly.
this is probably when most things have healed and you won't get mad at me should something
Right.
happen.
That's when your uterus should be back to its original
Yeah.
size. Like, so I understand timelines there,
Yes.
but it's more so like there's not as much counsel surrounding,
Exactly.
like you said, the
You get
response cycle.
handed a baby and you're like,
Yes.
congrats. Bye.
Bye.
And
Yes,
then
exactly.
you end up at a pure romance party and you know, explain to me all the issues you're facing. And I'm like, cool. Also, have you met my friend, Dr. Katie? Because you might want to go
Yes.
visit her.
You might want to go see her because we can all help one another
Yeah.
and support one another through all the life stages and changes.
Exactly.
Same thing in perimenopause, menopause. I mean, there's lots of changes that go on there
Yeah.
as well.
I think people forget that there's highs and lows and there's, everything changes when you've quote unquote figured out sex the first time you have sex and you're like, well, I guess this is how it's always going to be. And then I meet folks who are like, oh my God, I didn't know my body could do that. Like, yeah, and so much more.
It's so cool.
Yeah, there's so much more to explore and to be willing to keep learning about your body as it changes and not compare yourself to who you were when you were 20 and maybe, or like shortly after you had your sexual debut, like how it felt then versus how it felt now. The level of trust you have with your partner might deepen the intimacy and the connection.
Right.
Or maybe you're on the journey to find a new partner and you're just spending a lot of time enjoying your own company and what feels good now.
Right.
Without anybody's influence.
Exactly. I love how you just said it's just being open to continually learning your body.
Yes.
Because it does change.
Yes.
Like it does change. So we have to be open and also honest with ourselves.
Yes.
When we are struggling or, there might be some of those issues with body image.
Yeah.
Concerns surrounding,
100%.
past experiences and how it relates to now. So how do you approach some of those conversations with women who might be struggling, with some of those things?
So at a typical party, I do my presentation and then I open up like a private shopping area. And that is when I get to know my clients a little bit better.
Yeah.
And some of those things, it's going to be more than a 5-minute conversation in a shopping room. And there's definitely some scenarios where pure romance doesn't have a product that can help. This is something that you need to go see a professional or maybe speak to a therapist about some of the issues that you're dealing with.
Right.
And I love the fact that I can be a resource. And I know folks here in the upstate of South Carolina and beyond. I've got a great network of providers that I can refer my clients to. Yeah. So I don't have a medical background. I'm not a doctor. I cannot diagnose anybody. But I know enough to be like, all right, when's your next visit with your OBGYN or your gynecologist?
Yep.
Would you maybe ask them to look into this condition?
Sure.
Or maybe you should go research a little bit more on this condition or read this book and see if that sounds like what you might be experiencing. Right. And then truly advocate for yourself. So there's lots of follow-up. There's a couple coffee talks. Like we'll go grab coffee or I'll be like, can we set up a time early next week to just get on the phone and chat? Because it sounds like what you're going through. I want to give you the time that you need.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I'm not able to do that at this party. And I also want to protect your privacy.
Right.
And right now we're in like a group setting. You're going to leave this room and your friends are all going to be like, oh my gosh, what you got? And you're not going to want to maybe disclose to them some of the things that you're experiencing personally.
And that's okay. Like, I think that for people to know, like everyone's comfortability level talking and discussing sexual intimacy in all its forms is very different.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you're not as open or you're not as outgoing or outspoken about some of this stuff. Like it's your sex life.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters.
Exactly.
But I think it's important again, like someone like Meghan, like you, like having that guidance, for not knowing where to go to or not knowing how to bring, those things up. It's like, you kind of have to have someone introduce to you some ideas and concepts, for that to be safe.
I would hate for someone to present with something that I would suspect to be, vulvodynia or vaginismus and be like, oh, well, you should just buy 20 lubes from me
That's
luck.
wise. That is wise.
Right?
That's why I love you, because you do know.
Just buy stuff and then good luck. No, I'd rather you go get a diagnosis, talk to your doctor or your pelvic floor therapist about a game plan. And then if Pure Romance products can supplement your health journey, because we've got high quality lubricants that are FDA approved and that are pH balanced, right? So we've got good quality stuff. So depending on what your care provider recommends, then we can loop in and I can become part of your treatment plan. So we also have products like vaginal dilator sets, which I know I've showed you guys before, and different Kegel exercisers, just to help supplement maybe some of the information and the training you're getting when you come to pelvic floor therapy. It's like, okay, cool. So we can all say that we're doing our Kegels correctly, but are we?
Or do you even need to be doing them?
Yeah, right?
Depends.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Totally depends. So yeah, that's huge. I think just having the resources and again, like you're creating like a safe environment for women and people to come in and just be able to talk about stuff.
Exactly.
And like you said, open the door to the education.
Yeah.
But in a fun way.
Yeah.
Like, in a way that's not, like you said, kind of like weird or, what was the word you used? Like, you know, in the doctors, it's like kind of like
sterile.
Sterile.
Yeah.
Yes, that word. That's sterile.
Sterile.
Not that, you know, every doctor's office is that way, but I feel like our vibe is pretty
well, and
pretty
I think
chill.
There's so much shame that we put on ourselves that, okay, well, I only really get 5 minutes with my primary care provider. So like, do I even have time to bring up this new thing that I'm experiencing? Right. Are they going to ask? I'll bring it up if they ask. And then our doctors don't always ask, because that's not like they're there to care for one thing or just to do your routine wellness check.
Right.
And now, without getting on a soapbox, a lot of times if you bring up something new, there's additional charges on your bill. So it's like, well, do I even bring up this new thing knowing I'm going to have to pay like out of pocket for more, or I can just deal with it. It's fine. And be like, no, that's not. You deserve to be healthy and you deserve to understand your body. And if you know that something's not right or it's different or you've got concerns, it's your responsibility to advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
And if you have a care provider that doesn't take your concerns seriously, that's exactly why you come to me or come to you or Dr. Stephanie and like see if maybe there's another route that one can go to get optimum health for yourself and to get the results that you want.
Right. Exactly. Because sometimes there's, you know, like you said, it's admitting like, I do need some extra guidance.
Yeah.
Like I do need some extra help and something is different.
Yes.
And I just need to find the right person, right provider to help me navigate through, you know, some of those changes. And so then like a Pure Romance party might be the first time that someone is having that exposure. Right.
I jokingly call myself the buffet. So it's like if you roll up to, let's say, a Golden Corrals or a Ryan's, R.I.P. Ryan's.
R.I.P.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I haven't thought about a Ryan's in forever.
So I'm your buffet, but if you come up and today you want the salad bar and that's going to be, you know, vaginal health, right? Or you want the ice cream and dessert bar and that's going to be arousal, right? Or maybe you just want like a good juicy steak and that's going to be a deeper intimate connection with your partner.
Yes.
Like how do we get to know each other again? We went through this period of maybe where we kind of grew apart for a little bit or we had kids and now we got to get back to each other.
Yeah.
And I get to be the buffet that you come to. So you just come to the buffet and you tell me what you need and I can either help with products that Pure Romance provides or point you towards a resource that's available in the community to help you get more information on something like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the key. The key is connection and like helping people connect to exactly what they need, you know, and those moments. So how do you kind of tailor your messaging to be as inclusive as possible of everyone? And kind of where they're at along their journey in their sexual health.
Yeah. So I've always tried to be really intentional on not assuming my clients are all heterosexual or in, you know, opposite sex relationships or in relationships at all. Right. So I try to use inclusive terminology. So I usually refer to your sexual partner as your partner or maybe somebody that has a penis as a penis having partner. Right. Somebody that's got a vagina as the partner that has the vagina, right? And not just like your husband, your boyfriend, the guy, the girl, right? Because not every relationship looks the same. So I try to make sure I'm inclusive in that. I've only been called out once where they're like, well, we're all married to men. You could just say husband. But after like 14 years of saying partner, it's hard to retrain.
That's hard to retrain.
And just be like, husbands. Also, I don't know everybody's background when I walk into a party. Like,
totally.
Yeah.
So and I don't think it's great to assume.
Yeah. It's
either.
Just, no, we all know what they say about what happens when you assume.
Yeah.
So I have clients that run the spectrum on sexuality, how they identify, how they present. And I just try to be inclusive of all that. My specialty is women's sexual health.
Sure.
That's what I know best. That's what I've been trained on.
Right.
But I'm a great resource for folks who might need something else. I'm well connected enough to be like, all right, great. So this is what I can tell you. But I also have this friend or this care provider that can probably give you more or recommend this book.
Yeah.
And that can help you, especially when I've had clients that maybe we initially meet and they identify as female. But during the course of our relationship, after me being in business for 14 years, they decide they want to transition. And I'm like, great, here's what I know. And here's who I know.
Right.
And here's how we can make sure you get the care provided, right, that you need.
Yes.
And Pure Romance is going to keep providing you the highest quality products we can. And if you have any product suggestions of what you're looking for, definitely let me know.
Yeah.
Because we can slide that up the ladder too.
That's awesome. Tell me, you mentioned some like resources and books and things. Like, what are some of your favorites that you recommend to people that you're interacting with at your job?
I feel like I just need to send you a picture of my bookshelf to put in a footnote.
Yes.
I'm really appreciative that Pure Romance provides so much ample training, and we've got an umbrella organization. It was formerly known as the Patty Brisbane Foundation for Women's Sexual Health and Wellness, and now it's called She Plus. We shortened it a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But it's the largest funding organization for women's sexual health research, and they've got a great board of directors with some amazing doctors. A lot of my clients right now are raising preteens and teenagers, and they're like, how do I talk to my kids about sex? Totally. So I always recommend Dr. Logan Lovekoff's books. Like First Base Ain't What It Used to Be. That's a great one. I'm a big Carol Queen fan. She's one of my idols. I got to meet her at a conference a couple of years ago. Yeah. So she's got some great books, and she's like an OG. Like, she's been around for a minute. Yeah. Let's see what. I think the books that I recommend to a lot of people now, and they might be a little bit heavy for most of my clients, but The Body Keeps the Score
that is a must read.
I just tell everybody, I'm like, just get it. You can get it on Audible, Libby, Hoopla, and just do the audio or the Kindle version. But like, that is the book that I will just keep listening to in the car. And then I go back to my paper copy and I find the section I'm at and just start underlining. That's probably the one that's most beat up in my bookshelf.
Sure.
We don't realize how much trauma our bodies can carry throughout the generations of what we're unknowingly passing on to our children.
Yes.
And the folks in our community. So that's
true.
huge. Ian Kerner, She Comes First, is an absolute must read. I tell women, especially if I'm partying with like a college crowd, I'm like, read this book, dog ear it, leave it next to your toilet. And when whoever you're dating comes over to use the bathroom, they're going to pick it up and start reading it.
Yep.
And you're going to thank me for it.
You will thank me.
Right?
For sure.
Right. And then Dr. Madeline Castellanos has some great books too. So I know I'm missing a million other books.
Sure. There's so many out there.
It's hard to, I mean, you want to like check your sources, but I have just been on so many like book lists. And then as soon as I read one, of course, or wherever I bought it from, someone's like, hey, you bought that. Did you want to buy this? And I'm like, I don't know. Do y'all want to buy this? Who is it? Emily Nagoski?
Yes.
She's got
so many. Come As You Are is a great one. And then she has another one, Come Together.
Yes, Come Together is one of my faves.
Yes.
Right? But she also has a great book on burnout. And I feel like even though it's not what you're used to reading from her, it's something that every woman needs to read and understand.
Burnout. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. Right.
so many things. Well, and I think too, it's just women. We can be socialized to really, truly just like give.
Yeah.
And like we truly put ourselves on the back burner.
We do.
And I think it's so important to recognize, like, there can be certainly seasons where you have to give of yourself and you need to give of yourself. But at the same time, we can't forget ourselves.
No, I always say you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's so important.
Fill your cup. Take a day for you.
Yes.
Take a week for you, right? Date yourself.
Exactly. And like, learn who you are right now.
Exactly.
Going back to the learning conversation. It's huge. But yeah, tell me some of the few like kind of key takeaways that you just like wish every woman knew about their sexual wellness. Like just a couple things that you're just like, man, like I wish more women just like had this in their bag.
You don't need permission to do anything for yourself.
Yes.
The folks that I meet who are like, well, can I go home and talk to my partner or my husband about it? And I'm like, yes. What do you think they're going to say? When you talk to them, what do you think they're going to say? And why? Because you're here for you.
Yeah.
And if your partner truly loves and cares for you, they're going to want you to enjoy yourself. And so if you need supplements in any way, shape, or form, that's fine. I
get that answer a lot too.
Right? Enthusiastic consent is non-negotiable.
Yeah. I like that.
And that changes.
Enthusiastic consent.
Yeah. So like if maybe you did something once and you had a great time, but now you're not feeling it, you never have to do that again if you don't want to.
Yep.
And like help encourage your partners to keep asking you for consent, and you should be asking them for consent and not just assuming, well, we did this once, so we can just keep doing it, especially if you didn't have a good time. I definitely encourage my clients, if you have critiques or criticisms about the sexual experience that you're currently having or just had, bringing those up in a sexual situation is not always sometimes the most comfortable or the safest option.
Yeah.
So maybe like extricate yourself from that, but then the next time you go out for coffee or you're on a date and be like, hey, remember that time we did this thing? I really did not have a good time. Could we maybe do something else? But that's also a reflection on the verbal communication skills that most of us lack when it comes to advocating for ourselves sexually. So practicing saying words out loud in a non-sexual way will give you more confidence to say them in a sexual situation.
Totally.
So it's like during a massage, harder, faster, deeper. Oh my God, that feels so good. Your hands are so strong. Like giving compliments and also redirecting.
Yeah.
Massage is super low stakes. So like I know it might be awkward, but like practice saying those things out loud and then say them outside of the bedroom.
Right.
If you don't want to do something, you can say no. No is a complete sentence.
Yes.
And then I will soapbox all day about the importance of lubrication during intimacy. I think there's a common misconception that like lube is a reflection on how turned on you are.
Yep.
And lube is just a body's response. And like right now, we are recording this in April in the upstate of South Carolina, and it is pollen season.
Totally.
So I tell my clients, if you're taking an antihistamine or a decongestant for allergies, it's drying you up head to toe.
Yes.
And people are like, what?
I know.
I'm like, you're not broken.
No.
Your body, like most of the medications we're on as a society, a side effect is vaginal dryness. So it's not a reflection on your partner's performance or you as a human. Your body is just dealing with another issue, and a side effect is going to be vaginal dryness.
And there's so many things that cause that too. Medication,
stress, breastfeeding, age,
hormones.
So there's nothing wrong with you if you need lubrication.
Absolutely.
And people are like, oh my gosh, what? And that's why
I thought that was just for old people. I'm like,
no,
it's for all people.
But also be mindful. Like if you're using a lube and you're not enjoying it, you are not married to that lube. There are so many options. Pure Romance, I think we've got like 9 right now. And then people are like, what, 9 lubes? I'm like, yeah, one for every day of the week and like 2 different ones on the weekends. Right? Have some fun with it. Change it up.
Exactly. And I think that's the key is like having guidance on what products are great, you know what products are safe, like all those types of things are so important to know because I mean, if you're using a product and it isn't meshing with you, either it's like, it's stingy, it's burny. Like we don't want to keep using that.
No.
Like, we want to switch that up and get some more guidance on, what may be a better fit for you and your body.
Yeah.
Cause truly like it just enhances pleasure.
Yep.
When you're not having to even think or worry about
exactly.
when it's the potential for something like happening.
Yeah.
Like you said, body keeps the score. It's like your body and your brain remembers when things don't go great.
And trust your gut. If you're like, this just isn't it, then you are not legally obligated to keep using that by any means.
Exactly.
Right. I always tell people, I'm like, if you get a tattoo, a good tattoo is going to cost you what, $300-$500?
Yeah.
A pure romance bedroom necessity is going to cost you significantly less.
Yes.
So like, it's not a permanent commitment.
Definitely not.
Right?
No. And there's so many options.
Yeah.
I think that's what other people don't realize too, is that the amount of options that are out there, they either don't want to research it because they feel uncomfortable, or, they
my search history.
Right.
Y'all should look up my search history.
I know. I was like, my poor husband, like my Google search on my laptop for all the sexual health, like things that I'm going through all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, good thing I don't have any like blocks on that. But
well, and then knowing like where you're getting your products from, I think is huge, because there's always going to be something cheaper.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of you get what you pay for, because there's no regulation in the bedroom necessity like industry.
You do get what you pay for.
And if you open the package and it smells like gasoline or petroleum or gross, you don't have to put that on your body.
No,
not with the mucous membranes that live inside your vaginal canal. That's going to like,
don't put that in your body.
Don't put it in your body. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it, girl.
Please don't do that. Please don't do it. Oh my goodness. So many good things just talked about and needed to, again, like bringing these things to the forefront of conversation is so important, and giving people the freedom to ask questions.
Yes.
And again, search on their own, like, what they 100%. Want to look like, what they want to look for. And, I'm so grateful to connect with you over some of these things. And, I would love for you to tell listeners on our Limitless Live how they can connect with you, how they can learn more about, what you do, or even like get connected with Pure Romance if they want to start doing some of the same type of work, or, that kind of thing. What does that look like?
So my website is www.prbymeghan, Meghan. I got that sneaky H in there.
I have a couple Meghan with H's in my phone. Yeah.
Meghan.com. So prbymeghan.com. On Instagram, PR by Meghan. My Facebook page is Pure Romance by Meghan. And people are always welcome to reach out to me. I tell my clients all the time, I consider myself their vaginal concierge.
Love it.
So like it's my job to make sure their vaginas are happy. It might not be their partner's job. It might be their partner's hobby, but it is my job. Because it keeps a roof over my head and food on my table and gas in my car and treats in my dog's belly.
There you go. Yes.
So I am 100% dedicated to their sexual health and happiness.
Yes.
I always say your pleasure is my pleasure.
Oh, I love that.
So they can find me all over the internet.
Love it.
And then I travel usually within about a 2-hour radius for parties of the upstate. But I have been known to take a road trip. So wherever I am needed, let me know. I will figure out a way to get there.
There we go.
Parties are absolutely free to host, which is always great.
Yep.
And the information is free, and then you're stuck with me forever.
There you go.
Forever, ever.
Forever. It's good to be stuck with Meghan, though.
Listen. The only way you can get unstuck is to buy all the lube.
All the lube. So true. So true. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for coming
Katie. I'm so glad we got to hang out.
Me too. This is really fun. And if anybody's looking for just further guidance and just, again, a fun way to talk about sex and to get your girlfriends together and just have a fun girls' night, hit Meghan up.
Oh my gosh.
It's a fun time.
More girls' nights, y'all. We need them.
Yes, we need them. We need them.
Keep your girlfriends close.
Definitely. We need that for sure. Thanks so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yes, absolutely.